have a fan following to move mountains and hold a reputation to match. The 2021 World Finals, they made the grand final, but fell just short to the 8th division. Nonetheless, being within an arm's reach of gold only serves to add fuel to the fire, and through constant growth in this year's competition, they're coming in hot.
Natus Vincera means born to win in Latin, and this team has been on the rise. 2 second-place finishes in the September and October monthly finals. Yes, they start a little bit late over in the EMEA region, but they turn up with a bang. Previously, just dominating that EECA region, right? Felt like Na'Vi head and shoulders above the rest, didn't have the competition, but these big fish jumped into an even bigger pond, and they still stay afloat. That's what you love to see. And they're here to show the world that EMEA reigns supreme.
Yeah, exactly. I love to watch constant progression in any competition, and that's what Na'Vi have really demonstrated. You know, they came in a bit late, but that didn't deter them. Their results in those early monthly finals weren't great, some quarterfinal exits, but towards the end, getting to that grand final, despite coming a little bit short, you know, to Tribe Gaming EU in that final month, they still made it consistently there, and I feel like they are coming in a very, very good place. Their mindset is got to be on point here today.
Special moment for this Na'Vi team who had to attend the World Finals last year remotely, all right? The lights, the action, the crowd, the energy was something that was foreign to them in that occasion, and they performed really well. Now the question is, what happens when we plonk you in the middle of the maelstrom that is our Disneyland Paris World Finals? That's the question. A lot of fans behind this Na'Vi team, and they're really hard not to like. Their sort of antics in the post-game, we see them on camera all the time, especially sort of shutting out SK Gaming in that October monthly final. They won 3-2. SK were put in a position where they have to try and reverse sweep, and they kind of shut them out. On Tribe's side of things, I do want to see what they've been working on here, because they've definitely been on shakier ground. I really do think it's less about them falling off, but more about the rest of the region, you know, moving up. And that's what they say, a rising tide lifts all ships, and you better hope that Tribe Gaming have got their floaties on.
Yeah, it was, you know, a tough September for Tribe Gaming NA, losing in that semi-finals to Vatra on that 2-3, and again in October, losing in the quarterfinals. It started to dwindle down, but then again, they had been the first team in the region to qualify for the World Finals. They can afford to take things a little bit easier, but for Na'Vi, it was a constant battle all the way until the end. And the draft now coming in. Let's see, Piper Band, Bonnie Band, and Colette on the side of Tribe Gaming NA for the bridge, for the map Bridge Too Far. Heist coming in. Carl, Max, and Daryl banned out by Na'Vi.
Characterized by these really long lanes. We saw what Daryl can do on this kind of map right earlier on. If you leave him alone with your safe, it's going to be blown to smithereens. Recoiling Rotator is ridiculous. It's sort of working that down and is very, very scary if it's going to charge more of those supers up. Teams were having to 1v2 that Daryl, give up the mid lane and just sort of try and collapse the side lane to answer that threat. So pretty prescient selection to ban here, and Carl also. Na'Vi don't want any of these shenanigans. This team is really aggressive. They have some really wacky takes on the metagame and sort of what to draft. That's what sort of makes this extra exciting. And MMA is up there on the stage. That's a rarity for this team.
Yeah, it's going to make a difference when it comes to the draft. The first pick going to be coming in soon. I love 8-bit on this map. I think that B also can have some great value. Despite that Daryl being banned, it's still going to pack a punch. Brock going to come in. That's going to allow for some interesting dynamics within that mid, being able to break everything open, and Eve therefore as well, you know, coming in on the side of Tribe. They're going to utilize a lot of their maneuverability on this map. There's a lot of water in which Eve can get a lot of value from just her natural abilities on this particular map. But it's going to be a long-range game, no doubt about it. And with the bans of Piper coming in, and there's the 8-bit for Tribe, you know, if you get that 8-bit in range of the safe, put the damage booster down, maybe even have a damage gear rolling in as well, you know, extra credits is going to get a lot of value on here.
Against sharpshooter-heavy compositions, Eve Super Baby Boom is actually quite powerful. Their low fire rate of sharpshooters makes it hard for them to deal with those sort of baby Eves that start to run at you. So that's definitely something worth considering. Provides a lot of pressure, and on a map like Bridge Too Far, it's very easy to hatch those, right? Throw that back behind you, keep it safe, and then set up in a big way. 8-bit is crucial. You can make those forays forward, right? Maybe go overextend, you could say a little bit, get that safe pressure and then back up. Lola getting locked in next.
I like that from Na'Vi. It's one that they have gone to time and time again, and it is going to have a great deal of area spray, and there's always something to have on the left or right hand side lane that can really scout those bushes for you and seek out and destroy. The third and final pick for Navi coming in, and it's going to be a riskier time for them. They haven't really got much choice of a tank, and they're going to play a huge risk. Colt coming in. What a draft for Navi. But here's the thing about Colt. It can get some tremendous taps, but you've got to land those shots, and that is where Tribe Gaming NA can make it very, very difficult in that respect and make sure those jukes are really on point.
Yeah, Cole obviously weaker against enemies that can strafe effectively or brawlers with high speed, but these lanes are really quite confined. So if you're just firing straight down the lane, it can be pretty hard to avoid the brunt of this damage. Of course, there's like an environmental destruction potential with Silver Bullet. Bell getting locked in here, probably not a huge surprise. Also, a nice pick against Lola, right? Land, either connect onto that Ego or Lola, get the shock bouncing back and forth, get extra damage, and also able to pressure. And again, one of the few sharpshooters left available at this point in the draft.
And that's why I'm kind of surprised that Navi went with the Colt, because more often than not, when you see a Lola drafted, the follow-up is normally the counter to it, and it may have helped them out a little bit, and Tribe have got themselves in a good spot. The thing about the 8-bit, though, is the fact that in terms of maneuverability, much slower. Therefore, Colt shots can land far more effectively. So Zulan is going to have to get those turrets coming in really, really quickly.
What do you make of this double lane on the left-hand side from Navi?
I mean, now the Bell shots are starting to ricochet between the two. I think they're going to start to second-guess it. But S-Livy is connecting so nicely on his own, and MMA jumping through, strains the shots of Zulan. He gets taken down, and now damage gear plus extra credits onto the safe.
That is bizarre. Rocket Laces used to go across the lane and try and fight an 8-bit up close and personal. That guy is hefty.
You can't do that against an 8-bit. You can't. Now MMA being marked up in the mid is a concern, and the double right-hand side lane takedown was beautiful there for Tribe, as Livy can't quite find the shot on MMA, but Zulan once again coming in with some great damage, and look at this scoreline. In fact, Navi have done a pretty decent job themselves of getting some, on their own.
Yeah, good pressure from that left-hand side lane at the start of the round now. Tyrant's hatching something. Let's see if it's a nasty plot or a goose egg. Shot down the middle here. Tyrant's able to keep a little bit of space, but Navi's safe is pretty darn low. MMA
point. Tyra comes in. It is done. The first game goes the way of Tribe.
We foreshadowed this a little bit about Navi, right? Some of their drafts and some of their executions are kind of wild. And we just don't see much of MMA. Very much a spiritual leader for this team, right? A real captain's captain. But coming in here, again, a lot of pressure on him to deliver that same brand that we maybe saw from him last year. Tough start for Navi.
Okay. Well, Navi need to learn a little bit about that early game approach. And Tyrant does win the lane, 45 HP to his name. Great stuff from him, but and the juke on top of that, and the pickup. My word, Tyrant, that was lovely.
Again, if you can juke those Colt shots, he starts to become pretty vulnerable. Tyrant really laying claim towards the middle part of the map there. Love that little jump from him. Eventually will fall down to the incendiary field. MMA has to use rocket laces to get away, but as Livy is pressuring this right-hand side, Cubic tries to stand up to Zulan, and the pressure is decent, but reinforcements are on the way.
Yeah, just keeping Navi mismarked though there from Livy. The shots will ricochet though between both Angel Boy and the safe, and yeah, continuing to do just that. The spray down from Cubic is connecting onto Zulan, and Zulan is shooting for his life. He does go down. Now, can Navi get out of this spawn and start to return some of this damage?
A lot of pressure now being applied to Tyrant as Angel Boy has knocked down some of those barriers in the middle part of the map. Navi begin to smell that blood in the water. They're like a staying power to keep pressuring down. MMA takes a salvo. He's so low, and now Tyrant is trying to guess where he is. He guesses right.
Beautiful stuff. Honestly, Tribe are looking like they just have so much synergy right now. They're picking up the pieces every now and again, struggling to find Navi within the bushes, but when they do, it's swift and quick takedowns. Tyrant now able to focus his attention onto the safe, and we haven't really seen much from Navi in this round, and that's a concern.
Tyrant is getting everything he wants in this middle part of the map right now. Well, fast track back to spawn in that case, but still, as Livy's able to make the trade respond, QB going to get pressure from the backside, has to waste a couple shots on those Evelings as they pressure down. Another damage amplifier from Zulan here, but really just to try and block some of these shots as Cubic lays it on thick. It's not enough though. Here comes Zulan posturing aggressively. It's 27 and counting on the safe, and Tyrant will stand once the smoke clears.
Yeah, it's kind of didn't quite position himself there with the Incinerary, but he had the, a great advantage to be able to get those shots. Nonetheless, though, I think the Tribe have done enough for now, and Navi, with no time really, except for Angel Boy all on his own, this one's done. Tribe Gaming NA are going to take this first set, and they looked very comfortable in doing so.
Something unexpected there from Navi out of the draft. Cool, calm, and collected with Tribe, though. Picking composition really siled to that kind of map. The E through mid from Tyrant as well, not something we see all the time, but anytime you can get value in him being able to cross lanes, collapse as well on them if he has to. Really love those looks here. Zulan on the 8-bit, again, putting himself up front and center in many of those fights and just saying, hey, I've got a large health pool, come at me. I'm gonna try and get pressure down on your safe. Strong fundamentals there from Tribe, really getting them over the line.
Yeah, it was a risky draft as well, wasn't it, from Navi, and that little play there, a bit questionable, ultimately, then allowing Zulan just to kind of go in for free, and they just didn't really time their runs effectively in that respect, and a lot of the shots, a lot of the accuracy of Tribe, landing the mark, and as we see there, the energy of Tribe giving NA always shining through, and as things get more and more progressively through, Zulan is going to get louder and louder.
He's the guy that really starts to play to the crowds, really starts to feel the energy. This Tribe team is a pretty disappointing MSI run for them. They definitely expected more. According to SK Gaming in those semis, they are still very, very hungry, and I think this really tells much of the story here. Livy having a fantastic go of it on Bell.
Yeah, Tribe have been known in the past to, gain a little bit too much confidence too soon.
Sure.
I'm not going to necessarily bring up last year too much because, I'm sure when they watch back the VOD, it might be that switch.
You'll hear about it. Yeah.
No thumbs down here today. But nonetheless, that's the start that you want to have at the World Finals. You really want to come in and make your mark. It gives you that confidence going into the second. It's a tough spot for Navi. This is a LAN experience which they're not used to having. So being behind now is going to mean they're going to have that little bit of time to have those team talks to discuss what they need to change going in to Dueling Beetles.
Yeah, really curious. Looking at the stage here, of course, MMA still there. Navi have surplus players, of course. It's a 4-player roster for this team. On the side of Tribe, obviously Corey definitely stepping more into that coach analytical role, supporting that team, leveraging his leadership ability. Straight away, Penny's going to be locked away. Pretty popular pick here.
Navi really love to run Penny. I remember my first conversation with them regarding draft, and they took it a little bit personal. But Penny here can do some great and wondrous things. The bans on the side of Tribe being Poco, I think, are smart. Banning Poco against Tribe, against Navi, you have to do that. You really do. The Stu as well, getting rid of some aggression, and of course Buster. We know full well what that can achieve. Janet going to come in for Tribe Gaming NA. Some great value for it, and B as well to back it up, just in the eventuality that Navi bring in some tanks, which they are known to do.
Yeah, take a great all-rounder first here with Janet. Start to sculpt your draft a little bit with something a little bit longer range. The B, obviously, great. Hunting molasses can be such a problem, especially if you're able to push up and you have the advantage. And then you can round it out. You can kind of see what Navi go for. Now, at least you have the chance to sort of preempt that last pick, the wacky one, right? As a Colt was locked in earlier on by Navi. Tribe maybe prefer to be in this position now. Obviously, we sort of mentioned a couple times, we've seen a little bit of Buster here, but he's just not something that Tribe want to deal with. Bell, though, is on the table and snapped up.
And I really do like that pick. Bell now with the reload gear coming into play is just a real force to be reckoned with. The nest eggs as well onto the zone can deter you and take away valuable time that you just simply do not have in Dueling Beetles. It's quite a tough one. Crow coming in for Navi. It's daring. It's kind of dropped a little bit away from the meta, but obviously with the slowing toxin, it is going to allow for those Bell and Penny shots to land the mark and just get that all-important value in.
Especially if you're in a scenario where you have to retake, right? And the defending team has to expose themselves to your Crow to some degree. The slowing toxins can be pretty straightforward to hit. Now, it's not an all-in, composition after the fact, but like you mentioned, slow targets are easy meat for Cubic and MMA on those picks. Sprout gotta be knocked in here. Corey sat on the bench like, that could be me, bro.
Also with the slowing toxin, that Penny turret is going to land more shots during that time as well. So I hope that whoever's playing it on the side of Navi just time that perfectly. But Sprout can really just shut everything down here. With the lack of wall break, which Navi have gone in and taken a bit of a risk with, I think that as Levy, if he's on that Sprout, or whoever it is going to get a ton of value. And do get to really just shut off most of the map here. But you've got to earn it and just keep it cycling in, and that can sometimes be challenging.
So So the right first steps have been taken by Tribe NA, but there still needs to be a conversion on the series. MMA will be trying to man the middle part of the map here as Tyrant, as we expected, attends. Is Livy, of course, as well. No, you notice here that Tribe are really spreading out into a lane to have to deal with Cubic. They're really trying to opt out of going one-to-one with him for the time being. MMA is starting to get aggressive, posturing forward, but he's punished instantly by a hedge behind, and Zulan chimes in from the right.
Amplified shot for Zulan. Oh, what a connection. Angel Boy now has damaged gear, but no HP. It's a really contested situation. Tyrant and there's Livy coming through and just positioning himself forward, and Cubic now has to be very, very cautious. That's the cycle you want, looking at MMA, but actually it does mean that it doesn't quite get the total coverage that they need.
Drop the base. So frustrating to deal with when you've got no choice but to stand in it and not be able to get healed up. Zulan now starting to get a bit comfortable here. MMA slowed up, the Iron Hive, and the shot to follow is good. Cubic has to sheepishly back up as Tribe start to lay it on even thicker. Angel Boy and MMA return. We definitely need to see some value from this Crow.
Yeah, it's really a bit of a struggle so far. Tyrant, though, is thinking about going in. Surely MMA is low here, and oh, Cubic. Angel Boy coming through. Let's stick there in the mid, and that's not a bad thing for sure, but now, as Livy needs to get some value, he needs to get some takedowns here to really relieve some pressure. That's a good start. Tyrant behind the situation as well is going to keep some pressure on here. The comeback potential here, spot on. What a retake from Tribe.
Love that. Tyrant being absolutely obnoxious in the backline. He requiring Na'Vi to commit 2 players in order to remove him. That opens the way for Tribe to move up onto the hot zone and start ticking up once more. Iron Hive doesn't connect, but the empowered shot does. Zulan in a very comfortable spot now. Hector's going to force Na'Vi back, and it's 86 and counting for the time being. MMA wants to push up here. Now looking for a flank, but as Livy is keeping him under the thumb for the entire round. Turret shots are coming in, and it's a trade at best for MMA. Not what he's looking for. Tyrant now wants to try and extricate himself from the situation as Cubic and Angel Boy are looking imperious on the point.
Well, I think the Tribe, they can just get a little bit here and there. It's only 11% needed. What a takedown there from Zulan just to relieve a little bit of pressure. But Na'Vi have done a wondrous job so far. Now the Penny turret is starting to connect in for 3% now, and Tyrant with a lovely takedown will take the game.
Na'Vi are getting beaten in the middle of the map for a second set in a row. Really struggling to take control of that hot zone out of that sort of one instance, as Livy is an absolute menace on this Sprout.
It's a great third and final pick, isn't it? It really is, and Na'Vi are struggling with it. Just maybe could have gone in with something else just to free things up. Oh, the value of that. Cubic left on 30 HP, and now everyone able to focus their attention on both Angel Boy and Cubic. Tyrant goes down, but that wall is just going to keep cycling in as Livy is getting so much value from this Sprout.
And some free time on the point there, obviously, after that hedge came out. Now is Livy a bit more of a But again, at best, it's a 2v3 for Na'Vi for much of the round. Always lacking that one player, and Angel Boy again eats another one from Zulan, dominating the right side lane. Tyrant's gonna fly away in celebration as Tribe rack up another one.
It is looking like a red day so far, and no sign, really, of any black and yellow. Going into this next set, Na'Vi are gonna have to start to make some changes. Their drafts at the moment for me is where that starts, and just kind of not foreseeing what is to come, you know, and keeping their options open a little bit. Some risky ideas. At the moment, I don't mind risk as long as it starts to pay off.
It's been a tumultuous year for this Na'Vi team, right? I mean, yeah, think about their situation just in many of their personal lives at the start of the year and in the last few months, and then obviously coming into the EMEA region a little late, sort of having to play catch up with everybody else, getting wins against SK, Team Kaizo, Chazmac EU in the Snapdragon Challenge recently. This team is a high caliber powerhouse. The fact is they're not able to show it against the best from NA and LATAM North.
Tribe Gaming, of course, came second in the Season 1 of Snapdragon Pro Series. They didn't quite qualify for Season 2 this time around for those challenge finals. And look at there, as Livy, 9 to the 6 and the 6 of Tyrant and Zulan. But on the side of Navi, just one singular takedown for MMA, one singular takedown for Cubic. And Angel Boy was doing a lot of those heavy lifting there. I just worry a little bit for Navi at this stage. We haven't really seen enough resolve so far, and Tribe's confidence now is just kind of growing and growing.
Look, don't blame MMA, personally, for not racking up a ton of those kills. He definitely wants to facilitate with that slowing Toxin, but even when he wants to commit, when he wants to dive in with that swoop, he's getting blown up instantly. Maybe not being able to read the room as well as he'd like to, or just get a feel for just how much damage Tribe can output here. But this is last chance saloon. Na'Vi have one more opportunity to show us what they're made of, but they're going home.
Going into sneaky fields then, and this is a Na'Vi map really, and a Na'Vi game mode. It's going to cater a lot to some tanks, some heal, no max ban as well, no Poco ban. Ashe is a good one though for Tribe and bringing in the M's. I mean, it's a very underrated pick, but that mid lane is going to be under so much control, and it is susceptible